last time we had Writer's Workshop, we worked on learning how to write a hook. And we practiced several different types of hooks before we wrote our introduction. So now we're ready to write our first body paragraph. And what I want to teach you today is how to use transitional phrases in your body paragraph to organize your information. Now, this is actually part of our standard, writing standard 1.1. Part C talks about trying to link your information, your reasons, your evidence together, okay? When you think about a link, all right, I want you to think about the chain on the swing set, okay? Each of those parts is a link that holds it together. If one of those links breaks, then the swing doesn't work, right? The swing is not supported like it should be. The same is true when you're writing an essay. If you're not using transitional phrases to link your ideas together, to link your evidence together, to let your reader know exactly what they're reading, then your body paragraph is going to fall apart. So it's really important for us to learn right now how to use those transitional phrases, and we need to see them in your body paragraphs. So go ahead and take out your ELA reference guide. You're going to look at the second chart in here after the hook. So the page right after the hook is the page that has our transitional phrases. And I'm going to actually zoom in just to focus on parts of it so that you can all see. This chart has been uploaded to our Writer's Workshop channel. So you can, if you're working at home and you're doing some extra practice, or if we go virtually and you're going to be writing at home now, you can open up this file. It's uploaded on our Writer's Workshop channel in the Files tab at the top. And I'm trying to keep up with every chart that we use in class to post it there so that you can always go back and reference it at home. Okay, so the very first thing I hope you remember when we went over when we looked at that essay about the 4th of July, I hope you remember that one of the things that we noticed was that each of the body paragraphs began with a transitional phrase. And if we look at this row right here, these are transitional phrases to start your body paragraph. So the first one you might say first, and then if you scoot over, you could begin that paragraph, Aiden, with second. The third body paragraph, you could begin with third. See how they go together? This next line, firstly, secondly, thirdly. See how they go together? They link, right? They link. So when your reader sees, first of all, they know that you're going to present your first main idea. When they see that you say next, they know that you're done talking about that first main idea, and now you're moving on to the next one. And when they see the finally, they know that you're done talking about the second main idea. Now you're going to talk about your third and final. So the transitional phrases really help your reader to see what your main idea is, what your evidence is, and how you're supporting that idea with the evidence. Okay, so when you write your body paragraphs today, you're going to be choosing the transitional phrase that you want to begin each of them with. Okay, and if you look back, and you have this checklist as well, I also uploaded it to the Teams page on the Writer's Workshop channel. you'll look and you'll see that the very first sentence is your main idea sentence, but it begins with a transitional phrase. So you're going to go to your chart, you're going to plug it in, whichever one you choose, and you're going to copy the main idea sentence right from your plan. Just remember, guys, that after the transitional phrase, you have a comma. And the next word is not the beginning of the sentence, so it should not be capitalized unless it is a proper noun. All right, let's look at an example. This is my sloppy copy in my journal. And you'll notice in my first body paragraph, I write, to begin, comma, Chet's Creek Elementary is a proper noun. So I leave Chet's capitalized. But if this was not a proper noun, it would be lowercase because it's not the beginning of a sentence. So my main idea sentence, to begin, Chet's Creek Elementary has a new theme every year. Okay? And if you go back, you can see that I got that straight from my planning sheet. Right here. Chet's Creek has a different theme every year. So you don't have to come up with a new main idea. You're taking the main idea from your plan. And remember, we talked about the plan when we planned our essay. If you put the work into the plan, then it makes the actual writing a lot easier. It makes the final product a lot better. It really improves the quality. Okay, so once I have introduced my main idea, we go back to our chart, then we know that we're going to be writing 5 or 6 sentences that are going to be presenting our ideas. Now, it's the beginning of the year, and we're just kind of learning how to do this. So my suggestion for you would be that for each of the bullets in your main idea, each of the bullets that support your main idea, that you're going to write at least 2 sentences for each of those bullets. That may change later on. As you become a stronger writer, that is going to change. All right? But for now, use that as a rule of thumb. Okay, so let's take a look at our chart again. If you look at this row, it says, transition to introduce your evidence. Now, remember in our sample, our 4th of July, she introduces, or the author introduces, I'm not even sure if it's a girl or a boy, the author introduces her mini story by saying, one time, last year, one day. That's the transition that is used when you're introducing a mini story. For this one, for this essay, you're probably not always going to be using a mini story. You're going to be using some description maybe and some explanation. But in this box right here are all kinds of different transitional phrases that you're going to use to introduce your evidence. Remember, you have 2 to 3 pieces of evidence that you want to present. You don't want to just present one. That makes for a very weakly supported main idea. 3 is kind of like a magic number. 3 body paragraphs, 3 pieces of evidence. It's very sturdy, like the tripod that's holding up this camera. 3 is very sturdy. So what you're going to do when you go to move on to talk about your pieces of your bullets, you're going to go ahead and you're going to look and you're going to choose one of these. And these are not the only ones you can use. You can certainly use others, but you'll want to choose one of those to introduce your main idea. Okay, again, let's go ahead and look back. And you're going to want to make sure, like I'm looking at this right now and I'm thinking, when you say one of my favorite, okay, that is kind of, whoops, I'm sorry, can't see that. One of my favorite themes was Mission Impossible. And notice the M is crossed out, so it was really Mission Possible. Okay, so this beginning one is telling my reader that there's a new theme every year, but now I'm going to talk about one of them. All right, so remember, as the writer, you're guiding your reader, you're leading your reader through. And guys, I am a much more mature writer than you are right now. You will get there, I guarantee it. But most of mine is all about one, describing one of the themes, okay? Classrooms were decorated with a spy theme. There were dark silhouettes of spies in some of the classroom, some of the classroom windows. Actually, it wasn't the windows, it was the doorway. And see, this is my sloppy copy, so as I'm rereading and I'm noticing changes I want to make, I'm just going to cross out and write them in. It looked like someone was looking in. The week before school started, a strange package arrived in the mail. It contained a cassette with a taped message, just like the messages in the movies. If you've ever seen Mission Impossible or Mission Possible. On the first day, my team dressed up like men in black. Having a fun theme every year is why I love Chet's Creek. Okay, so hopefully you can see from this example, and I'm going to move on and write a second body paragraph, but hopefully you can see from this example the types of things that I'm looking for in your very first essay. Beginning with a transitional phrase, and go right to your chart to get it. Presenting your evidence. Elaborating on your evidence, because if I just stopped after saying one of my favorite themes was Mission Impossible, you would have no idea what that looked like. And as I'm describing it and elaborating on it, okay, you might actually agree that it was kind of a fun theme. And then the last thing I want you to notice is this sentence at the end. Remember, we talked about this, right? When we notice the structure, we know we want to do that linking or connecting sentence. That's the one that's going to basically tell our reader, okay, I'm done talking about this main idea, but I want to remind you what I've been talking about and what my thesis statement is. Okay? So our thesis statement, our controlling idea for the whole essay is that I love Chet's Creek. One of my main ideas is that they have a theme every year. So having a fun theme every year, that's my main idea, is why I love Chet's Creek. Can everybody see that? All right, so today what you're going to do is you are going to write your body paragraphs in your journal. Now, you're not going back to finish an introduction because that's not what I've just taught you. I've taught you how to write body paragraphs. So on a new page, you're going to write your 3 body paragraphs. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is to talk to you about length. There is confusion sometimes when you look at this checklist. A lot of times students will tell me, well, I have 6 sentences in this paragraph, Mrs. Chasen. It's meaty enough. It's enough. I have 6 sentences. But that's not what this checklist says, because you have your main idea sentence, that's sentence number 1. You have your 2 sentences for every detail. That's 6 more sentences. So now you're up to 7 sentences. And then your final connecting, linking sentence, you're really up to 8 sentences long. And a sentence you're going to count wherever you have a period, that's the end of a sentence. All right? So you want to make sure that your body paragraphs are meaty, that they're adequate, they're sturdy. You don't want your essay to fall over like a tripod that has a weak leg. All right? You want your main idea sentences to be full and complete and to leave your reader no doubt about what you're talking about and why you think that way. Okay, before we start working, does anybody have a question? Okay, go ahead and open up your notebook and start writing your body paragraphs.